All right, what's up, Dots?
Some high quality millennial thoughts today.
Love hearing that.
Show me way.
Here's my
Hi.
first question. I'm just going to start off simple. We're going to get it started. Should homelessness be a crime? And I'm going to go to Kareem first.
Why would it ever be a crime? It's fucked up.
Okay, cool. Now, Sergio, should homelessness be a crime?
It should not be a crime within the society, but I definitely do believe
Certain
it'll be a crime
they do.
within myself.
No, I want to know about society, not about you. Should homelessness be a crime? Should it be illegal to be camped out somewhere? That's not your property.
I get what you're saying on that.
So if it's
Like
on
squatters
private
almost, like people
property,
just camping
like
out.
public-
There is no property. If you don't own anything, you have nothing is yours. Even public property, you don't own anything. You own that tent, then you walk around on it. You can't put it anywhere. No matter where you put that tent down, it's illegal.
I don't like that they put that shit right in front of buildings.
It doesn't matter
Like
where
downtown?
you put them. Where would you put them? It doesn't matter. Wherever you put them, it's illegal.
And okay, I see what you mean then. Yeah.
Tell me where you put an illegal person or put a homeless person.
Usually when they have the encampments by like the river, I'm not really tripping off that.
That's so they can shit in the water like they do in Sacramento.
Oh, you're true. All right, no, fuck no.
Yeah.
Our rivers have hella E. coli because of that shit, bro.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
people out there now they had to clean it up immediately. Right, the liberal millennial answer is no, dude, no, you can't be. It's not illegal, right? But even millennials don't know. We can't even agree on what to do with the homeless. But I think we can solve it today. You know what's crazy? I watched the news. Oh my god, it's crazy. It came on after a basketball game. I just left the TV on and I was like doing my thing, doing some other thing. Next thing I know, something useful came on the news. They had a forum to discuss homelessness in San Francisco. And they had chief of police, the mayor, and the DA in front of like 200 people like, answering questions about San Francisco. And I was like, oh, listen, interesting. Apparently, for homeless right now, everybody's asking. We have all this money. Everybody's complaining. You know, they laid it all out. They were not shy in any way about trying to politicize or make, avoid asking the hard questions. They were keeping it very frank. And they were like, what's up? We got all this money. Where's it all going? Why is nothing, why can't we do anything? How come we can clean up the streets in 3 days, but we can't keep them clean? All that. And what's funny is this is the phrase I kept hearing. And I heard it like 3 times from actually all of them in a different way. They kept saying homelessness is not a crime. And so ultimately, all these programs are designed to help people. But about almost more, from 50 to 60% of them don't want help. They do not want help. They say, we can come here, we can get you this, we can do all that. They don't want it. They were saying, what can we do? I'm like, well, homeless is not a crime. So they can't do anything, really. The police can't do very much unless they're blocking the sidewalk, unless they have a reason to say, unless they can cite it for an illegal reason. Oh, they're blocking this, fire code, etc., something like that. They can't do anything about it. And they have all these programs trying to help people, but the majority, and we can say the majority, because more than 50% do not want help. They want to do drugs. They want to do drugs. They don't want to get clean and get their life here. They want to do drugs and kill themselves. That's what they want. But the deaths are going crazy. That's mostly because of fentanyl.
And also the thing is, too, is that California actually makes it very easy for them to be homeless. There's actually a guy that I met at the state capitol, and this guy was sober, had straight teeth, nice white teeth, doesn't even touch any of the drugs or whatnot, is literally writing a book on how easy it is to be homeless. And basically, he's going through the experience himself. I mean, he told me what led him to be homeless, but said that he's just been writing this journal for about 180 days, and basically he's going to try to turn it into a book. But basically what he's explaining to me is that it's so fucking easy to be homeless. Not only do they give you a check, but they give you, a little bit of food stamps, yeah.
They give you everything,
they
bro.
give you that.
California...
And bro, there's buildings being built where people can just go in there. You just have to go there at a specific time, and you just have to be sober. And I don't think you can bring dogs in, unfortunately. A lot of homeless
they literally, that's exactly it. I was going to say, they offer homeless people housing. They say no, they don't want to be housed. That's the only way to force it. Once it's illegal, now they can enforce the law. You can't enforce the law if there's no law making it illegal.
I have a perfect solution to this.
Okay, Kareem, let's hear your solution.
So I don't think it should be illegal, right? You can do what you want, but it's kind of like how if I had a kid, right, and they did drugs, I wouldn't financially support them anymore, just like the way we shouldn't. So let's say they should have mandatory like drug tests if you do want to have like Medi-Cal or something like that if you are homeless, because it is a huge problem in that population. Why would we keep giving them it if they're just going to continue to do the drugs that are landing them in the position to like continue to be hurt and waste more tax dollars? So I think if they try to get themselves clean, then we'd be willing to like help them out. But they shouldn't be able to have these luxuries if they're not fucking like trying to make a good effort. I don't think it should be illegal to be, but like I don't think we should financially support that.
All right. Well, what if I tell you I think I have the perfect solution? All right. Here's my solution, and then you tell me if it works out. I think it should be illegal to be homeless. And the consequence is that you basically go to prison, essentially. It's where you could go to be housed separate from everybody else until you're clean. You would get counseling. You would be taken care of, basically government rehabilitation center. If you choose, because homelessness is basically saying, I'm going to be dependent on the state. And if you choose to be dependent on the state for no good reason, like there's obviously old people and me, I'm disabled, but for no good reason, you want to be dependent on the state, you will be forced into going into one of these government rehabilitation centers, which is basically what kind of prison sounds like. It's going to be a government rehabilitation center where you get counseling, you get clean, you figure out where you want to go, you maybe get in touch with your family. We already have all the programs locally to get you going. Like if you already wanted help, we could have put you in a place immediately. It's for the people that don't want help and want to camp around, vagrancy, if they just don't want to go anywhere else and they enjoy their life, depending on the state, they're going to do it in this facility. We're going to make it just good enough. Right, you're not gonna have any. Your freedoms are basically like prison. You can work out, you go inside the yard, and you can do. But you're basically in it's like a European prison, right? One of those good prisons. And then if you don't want to get better, you stay there. We don't. We have it as an option. We have places like that are optional. If you want to get clean,
so you don't think it should be optional?
I don't think it should be optional. I think it should be forced. If you want to do drugs, you have to get your shit together. That's it. If you want to do drugs, you get your shit together like everybody else.
Okay.
Isn't that what California actually wants? Is people to be dependent on them? That's why they give them so many.
I don't think so. I think the problem is that, think about how the conversation started. When I first said, is homelessness, it should be a crime, it's like, no way, we can't, they have rights, etc. But once we change the mindset of like, they get actually taken care of, but they're forced to do it. Because I don't like the idea that you can just choose not to and be dependent on it. If that's the case, then you don't get Medi-Cal, you don't get served. Like I only believe in helping people that want to help themselves. If you don't want to get help, then you don't get any help. I don't think that people really want to die. That's the trauma talking. That's the drugs talking. So once you're clean, once you're psychologically okay, once you talk to counseling, once you're fed, once you're taken care of.
You think this wouldn't be the land of the free anymore?
Yeah, that's an option. We're giving them two options. Freedom is to be a citizen of the United States.
Oh, so you would say you wouldn't have the right to be a citizen of the United States?
They're giving that up. They're purposely giving up their freedom by choosing to
essentially, yeah.
Because imagine if you replaced it with any other person from around the world. Replace one homeless person with a Venezuelan and see what happens. You got a job tomorrow.
Even if it's like $2 an hour.
Bro, he don't care. He don't care. Replace him with somebody from Africa. They don't care. China, they don't, bro. You replace them anywhere around the world, they would take that person's spot in a heartbeat.
It is pretty crazy that what you're talking about is like once they're clean, they're a totally different person.
And if you force that on somebody for 6 months, they get clean. Most people have some family somewhere. Their family just gave up on them.
I have a family member who's like homeless, and shit's just sad to see, like, because I grew up with him, and it's just like,
is it drugs?
There's nothing you could do. I think he does do drugs, but when we were kids, he didn't do drugs. But it was just because he got adopted into the family, and his dad was in jail, and I think his mom abandoned him. So it's like he was just kind of like troubled since a kid.
So would you guys vote for my plan of forced rehabilitation for homeless?
Honestly, bro, at this point, I don't think the approach that people are doing right now is working. Honestly, I do believe that would be the best possible solution, or at least just try it,
Yes.
You don't know if it would work.
You know what else I think? I think it would be the perfect parlay into prison reform.
In retrospect, It sounds like this would be so expensive, but at the end of the day, like the amount of resources we use just giving it to them, it'd probably be the same amount.
It would be less, actually, bro. Trust me, it would be a lot less because we'd actually be solving.
That's actually crazy, though. Like in my head, I was like,
more than $10 billion is spent in San Francisco on homelessness, and 800,000 are dying. Because, bro, I watched the video. We're literally deporting them to like Hawaii and shit. Like, it's crazy. It'll be worth a try. So I think, bro, that's a great solution. I think we just solved homelessness.
But why? I'm pretty sure someone already had that idea. Why do you think it hasn't been on the ballot?
Because people aren't as smart as us, bro. They probably did not have the idea. The first the idea should homelessness be illegal. The initial response is no, because we think we're being compassionate, but in reality, we're just enabling homelessness. We're enabling failure. Because in reality, we know that if you were homeless, you would call a friend, get on a couch, get a job, and get back on your feet.
Yeah.
That's what all of us would do. Now, parlaying that, I think that if we actually got that passed, that would be the first spark toward prison reform. Because what we're doing for these homeless people is exactly what we should be doing for most of the criminals that get arrested. Because most people who fall to a life of crime are the exact same category of people that end up on the streets. They just chose to go to the streets instead of crime. In reality, somebody who did crime is somebody who had an option of either being homeless or crime, and they chose crime. Does that make sense? Or does he have a disagreement?
It would be a lot different than reforming homelessness.
Think about this. If you're homeless, what is your option really in your mind besides crime? Your excuse for the homeless people, Kareem, which is that these people, went through the foster care. If you look at the prison, the same people who commit crimes, the same people who grew up with their bad families, went through the foster system, those are the same people who usually resort to a life of crime. Basically, we reform the prison. Right now, it's a place where you go there and you get ass raped until you die.
Yeah.
Like, that should not be prison. Like, companies make money off your slave labor and you get ass raped. Like, that should not be what prison is. I mean, for certain people, the sick fucks, that should be, that's where you go and get raped. People who commit crime, bro.
You're talking about like petty crimes?
Most crimes should be rehabilitation, I think.
Do you think murder should be one?
I mean, it depends on the murder, bro. If you're a psychopath, I mean, even then, what's the point?
Yeah, psychopaths don't even go to prison. They go to, sometimes they go to like psych wards.
And that would be the
if they're
same,
actually legally insane.
Basically, the fact that right now, there is no nuance in prison. Like, you go to prison, you're in prison, and no matter what you're in for, you're going to come out ass raped. So, like, there's no nuance. There's no nuance. Unless you're super rich, they go play tennis, right? So we have like a real discrepancy in the white-collar prison versus butt rape prison. The ones that can be reformed. Like, I mean, obviously, if you can't be reformed, you end up going to a psych ward, you end up staying in prison, etc., depending on the state. Most people who commit one crime, whether it's car theft, whether it's whatever it is, and they end up going to prison, they end up coming out. The cycle of going back to prison that's a whole complex that we already know as a fact. And I think that to change that, doing that is actually very hard because of a lot of things that are in place, lobbying and stuff. But if we actually started the legislation to solve homelessness, I think it actually would be a very big step in the direction of solving prison reform. Because, I mean, what's the difference between prison right now and what we're trying to give homeless people? The ass raping. I mean, yeah.
I think it's actually prison probably better than homelessness, right? Because a lot of people who are homeless try to go to prison to get, the shelter, the food.
They get food, but see, they don't want that because they want to stay homeless. That's the thing, right? Over 50% want to stay homeless. Here's the other thing: is the goal is to rehabilitate them because right now they're dependent on the state. When you're dependent on the state, that means the taxpayers, us. If we can actually fix them and get them back on their feet and get them back as citizens working, like most people really do want. I mean. When I say most, I think at least at the minimum 50% of people in prison wish they could, take it back and get back together and get their life together. The problem is that when they get out, everything's against them. The only people you can treat like slaves are criminals. By law, the people that you can discriminate, because discrimination is illegal, but the only people you can discriminate against are criminals. Discrimination is legal. Like, jobs can discriminate against criminals, right? They ask you on the paper, are you a criminal? Were you ever convicted of a crime? And if you check that box, they go, no, you're not getting the job. That's discrimination. And they're the only people, you can't do it for any other reason. Old, gay, black, whatever it is, you can't discriminate. But if you're a criminal, you cannot give them housing. You cannot give them a job. If you don't give me a house and you don't give me a job, what do I have to do? More crime.
Yeah, no, that's the fucked up part.
And that's the prison complex. Is we end up going back. The point should be rehabilitation. So that the goal is to get them back on their feet so that they're paying taxes like us. The goal is for everybody in the United States to pay their fucking taxes. That's what I'm trying to get at. And whether you're a criminal or you're a billionaire, get on your feet and pay your taxes. Like homeless people, get on your feet and pay your taxes. Or, because I don't believe in letting them choose death. Do you believe that should be an option?
Yeah, man. If someone wants to die, bro, it's really up to them.
To be able to choose to stay on the streets until they do drugs till they die, that should be right? No, not at my dollar.
Oh, yeah, not on my dollar, but if they want to do that, that's on them.
Like, you just can't do it because where's the safe place to do that? The woods, so that when we go on a hike, we find dead people on fentanyl on my hike in the morning.
That's true.
Like, where do you let somebody die where do you let somebody die in the streets of drugs? Where? Dig your own grave and then just lay there.
Dig your own grave. Yeah.
Like, that might be go to the graveyard
now, bro. That's basically
dig your own grave and then just jump in it. Like, it's just not really an option. Logistically, it's not an option. We have to force them to get better. And if they don't get better, then we force them into what is basically a healthy prison. And once we create a healthy prison, we can use that as the model to reform our fucked up prisons. And we can do that all in California first. And that's how laws change in the United States. California does something crazy, and then everybody does it. We make weed legal, weed's legal.
No, it's not federal yet.
CBD is, though.
Yeah, but CBD is not fucking weed, bro.
Yeah, but it's still something.
It's a good step.
It's still something. And weed probably will get legal. Right now, we don't have right now. The problem is that when I said it, you guys assumed that the consequence, you didn't know what the consequence was going to be. So it just sounds like it's going to lead to something negative. But if we can make it the consequence a positive consequence, because people look down on criminals like, you despicable human beings. But homeless are like, we cut with the same thing, but we also feel bad for you. So once we attach that feel bad for you to criminals, it's the same thing. It's a war on poverty. If we fight poverty, which is homelessness, if we fight poverty, people choosing a life of crime and people choosing homelessness, then the solution is simpler. I'm not talking about your bank account. Understand that. I'm not talking about your bank account. I'm talking about your situation. Like Kareem, you're poor, but you're taken care of. So you don't qualify for this, what I'm talking about.
Thanks God.
When I say poverty, I mean like everybody's, you know what I mean? I mean, you're in poverty. And so you either have to go to a life of crime or drugs or homelessness. If we eliminate those situations, then we're good. We attack all three at the same time. We're creating a better country. And then we still got to get a tax evasion on the rich. But all these programs are wasting our tax dollars.